This is Lifetime's Intimate Portrait of LeAnn Rimes. With the success of her first album, LeAnn had realized her dream. But she also had to deal with the reality of being a public figure.
Didn't really expect, all the interviews and all the, criticism and all the stuff that came along with it.
In just 1 year on the road, 14-year-old LeAnn was booked on more than 175 concert dates all over the world. But she never had a chance to take time out for herself.
I think almost everyone believes now that she probably was making too many appearances. In other words, I think she worked too hard.
I do think we overworked her, and I'll take some responsibility, her father and I, but I'll take some responsibility. I reacted to it because once the momentum starts up, you want to keep it going.
We were learning the business as well as trying to be mother and father, so it was challenging, very challenging.
If you've never been in the eye of the storm, it's really hard to say what you do when you were there. And I think that her family did the best they could, and they made the best decisions with the knowledge that they were equipped with under those conditions.
LeAnn was earning tens of millions of dollars, the kind of paydays her family had only dreamed of.
People around here would call LeAnn and say, "We want you to come do a show, we can pay you $50. All of a sudden, she's making, whatever, a ton.
But there were perks involved in being country's new big thing. When the awards shows came around in 1996, LeAnn's hard work and talent were rewarded. From the Grammys to the Country Music Association and everything in between, she was on a winning streak.
I could really get used to this. This isn't too bad.
It was not so much about the awards that she was winning, but it was that she had worked so hard and her dream had finally come true.
But after all the accolades and stamps of approval, LeAnn had to prove that she could go from little girl to young adult without missing a beat.
Is she going to be able to do it again, or is she going to be able to translate? I mean, is she going to be able to grow up in the public eye and people accept that?
There was definitely a constant questioning, and people just were wondering if I was, one song with Blue, but it kept going, definitely, which is great.
It did keep going, all the way to #1 again, with her second single, One-Way Ticket. LeAnn also released an album of her favorite songs called LeAnn Rimes, The Early Years. And by 1997, she was busy preparing material for a third album. But destiny stepped in when LeAnn had a chance meeting with virtuoso songwriter Diane Warren.
But it was a Friday night. I went to some restaurant in Santa Monica, and she was out with her manager and her dad and her publicist and stuff at the same restaurant.
Warren had written hits for the top recording artists in the business. When she met LeAnn, she was working on a song for the movie Con Air. She needed a powerful voice. And she knew a good singer when she heard one.
She blew me away. I mean, she's like a genius, like 14 years old. I'm like, wait a second, someone that young, to be really that world class.
LeAnn jumped at the chance to work with Diane. She knew that the combination of Warren's talent and her voice could result in pure magic.
And on Sunday, just as I was about to leave the condo, the phone rang and it was her manager. So literally, like by a second, I would have missed that call. And he said, well, LeAnn wants to come over and hear the song. So literally, it wouldn't have happened if I was almost about to close the door.
LeAnn recorded a demo of Diane's song, How Do I Live? And it was submitted for Con Air. Both the song and the singer were accepted for the movie soundtrack by executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer.
And when I was in the studio that night just doing the demo with her, it was like like the song found the home it wanted.
But Jerry Bruckheimer hired country singer Trisha Yearwood to do a new version of How Do I Live. He had decided to go in a different direction with the song.
I was really kind of crushed about the whole thing. A lot of confusion and a lot of promises made and weren't made. And, eventually there were 2 singles out the same song by two different artists.
The movie version of the song by Trisha Yearwood was being played on country radio, and LeAnn thought that her recording would never be heard by the public.
And I remember, kind of freaking out about that for a little while, going, wow, I've had this great career, and all of a sudden I have this great song, and I can't do anything with it. And Mike Curb figured out a way.
Mike Curb suggested that they release LeAnn's version of How Do I Live to Top 40 radio and see how it would fare on the pop charts.
How do I get through one night without you? If I had to live without you, what kind of life would that be?
I never even tried to have a song on Top 40 radio. And it instantly was a hit, and it was insane that it's the longest running single ever in Billboard history, so of any song ever.
The song stayed on the Billboard charts for 69 weeks and sold more than 2 million copies. And it took LeAnn and her music to a much broader audience.
Looking back, I'm so glad that, yes, the movie would have been great for me, but I'm so glad that it wasn't, because it just gave it a whole different spin and a whole different story, and it just became larger than life.
She brought that song to life. It's just a phenomenal song. I mean, every artist in their career only hopes to have a tune like that come along.
By the end of 1997, LeAnn had appeared at more than 500 concerts, won countless awards, and been named Billboard magazine's Artist of the Year. But for the 15-year-old, it was a case of be careful what you wish for. Next, LeAnn hits the wall.
I got very sick for a while and took some time off.
And later, the teen queen makes a very adult decision.
19 to me wasn't 19, I was 30 by then. I'm 40 now.
When Lifetime's Intimate Portrait of LeAnn Rimes continues.